Eileen Gu says, people won't understand or believe why she decided to compete for China. Multiple Olympic freestyle skiing medalist says decision allowed her to fulfill her mission of encouraging young girls to take up sports. Freestyle skiing star Eileen Gu said representing China had allowed her to fulfill her mission of popularizing winter sport and dismantling gender barriers, but acknowledged it was something a lot of people won't understand or believe. The 22-year-old, who brought her career total to 6 medals at last month's Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, wrote on social media on Tuesday that her decision had turned her dreams into reality and maximized her global impact, encouraging young girls especially to take up sports. Born and raised in California, Gu has faced controversy since deciding to compete for the land of her mother's birth when she was 15. Her continued Olympic success has kept her and her decision in the spotlight. During the Winter Olympics, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said he preferred to see that those who benefited from growing up and being educated in America represent the U.S. in competition. I'm going to root for American athletes, and I think part of that is people who identify themselves as Americans. That's who I'm rooting for this Olympics, he said. Responding to critics in her post, Gu reflected on the reasons behind her choice, recalling her first public speech at age 11, when she talked about being the only girl on her ski team. I was made painfully aware of the lack of representation, she said, adding that, at 9, every time she entered a terrain park, she felt she was representing all women. Landing tricks was about more than progression. It was about disproving the derisive implication of what it meant to ski like a girl. Gu explained that before she made the decision to represent China, she had trained with the U.S. national team for a season and was able to meet many of her sporting idols. She expressed ongoing gratitude for that experience and said she still maintained good relations with the American team. But Gu also shared that she had spent every summer since she was 8 taking part in ski camps in China, coaching children and young athletes. At that time, she said, freestyle skiing in the country involved a small community and she knew many involved in the sport. She said competing for China allowed her to use sport as a cross-cultural language to encourage young people to try skiing and introduce freestyle skiing to a wider audience. Skiing for Team China meant the opportunity to uplift others through the universal culture of sport and to introduce free skiing to hundreds of millions of people who had never heard of it, especially with the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics around the corner, she said. I can look back now, at 22, and tell 12-year-old Eileen that there are now terrain parks full of little girls who will never doubt their place in the sport. According to Gu, millions of girls in China and around the world have been influenced by her decision to represent China. A lot of people won't understand or believe that I made a decision to create the greatest amount of positive impact on the world stage that I could, at this age, given my interests and passions. At last month's games, Gu competed in 3 freestyle skiing events, slopestyle, big air and halfpipe, and won 1 gold and 2 silver medals, further cementing her record as the most decorated Olympic medalist in freestyle skiing history. Overall, she has won 3 gold and 6 medals in total, and Gu said that what was once a dream is now a reality. Gu has said she has faced tremendous personal pressure and previously told media that she was repeatedly asked about politics and geopolitics, and had experienced harassment on campus as well as death threats. It doesn't get easier, you just get stronger, she said in a recent interview. I've gone through some things as a 22-year-old that I really think no one should ever have to endure, ever. Gu, who outside skiing is also a student at Stanford University and a model, appeared in Paris for the Le Grand Diner du Louvre charity gala and shared photos of herself in an evening gown on social media on Wednesday. The event is one of the major fixtures hosted by the Louvre Museum during Paris Fashion Week 2026, and is often described as the French version of the Met Gala. Just a week earlier, Gu had attended Milan Fashion Week shortly after the Winter Olympics. Title: Beyond the Flags, Eileen Gu and the choice few will understand. In the winter of global sport, where nations drape their pride over athletes like heavy coats, one young skier stepped onto the snow carrying 2 worlds on her shoulders. Eileen Gu, a freestyle skiing prodigy raised in the United States but competing for China, knew from the beginning that her decision would ignite debate. When she said that people won't understand or believe why she chose to represent China, it was less a complaint and more an observation about how the world views identity. To many observers, sports is simple. An athlete belongs to a country, and that country claims them. But identity, especially in the 21st century, is rarely simple. For Gu, nationality was not a line drawn on a passport but a story shaped by family, culture, language, and opportunity. A life between two worlds. Eileen Gu was born in California to an American father and a Chinese mother. Her childhood unfolded in the familiar rhythms of American suburbia, school, sports, and ski trips to snowy mountains. Yet her home was equally filled with Chinese culture. Her mother spoke Mandarin, shared stories of Beijing, and ensured that her daughter understood the heritage she carried. Every summer, Gu would travel to China. In those moments she experienced another side of herself, bustling cities, grandparent stories, and the deep sense of belonging that only family roots can give. She was not visiting a foreign land, she was reconnecting with a part of herself. This duality shaped her from a young age. While her classmates might have seen identity as singular, American, Canadian, French, Gu experienced identity as layered. She was both American and Chinese, not half of each but fully connected to both. The rise of a skiing star. Gu's talent on skis became evident early. By her mid-teens she was already dominating freestyle competitions, performing daring aerial tricks and executing them with remarkable precision. The world of winter sports began to notice. Her rise coincided with the growing global popularity of freestyle skiing. Events such as the halfpipe and big air demanded creativity, athleticism, and fearless innovation. Gu had all three. By the time the world was looking ahead to the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, she had become one of the most exciting young athletes in the sport. But behind the medals and sponsorships was a choice that would soon redefine her public image. The decision. In 2019, Gu announced that she would compete internationally for China rather than the United States. For many fans, the decision came as a shock. Why would an American-born athlete switch national teams? The question echoed across social media, sports commentary, and political discussions. For some critics, the answer seemed obvious: money, endorsements, or strategic advantage. But Gu's explanation was far more personal. She spoke about wanting to inspire young Chinese athletes and help grow winter sports in China. She talked about her mother's homeland and the sense of connection she felt there.